Okay, so before we start in our book, so everybody's book should be closed. Remember I told you I'm going to tell you a couple stories from the Bible. So you need to listen because they're not in your book. You've probably heard them all at some point in as you've gotten older, like in Sunday school, at church, at home, something. So make sure that you are listening because on Tuesday, after you have heard all the stories that I have, we're going to summarize the ones that we've already talked about, just do some quick notes on it. And then you're going to pick one to do the activity on the bottom of page 67 if you have not already done it. So I think I made that optional before, but now if you have not done it, on Tuesday you will, but you'll pick one of the stories that I've told you in class, okay? So, we know we're talking all about Jesus' loving example. So there's a story from the Bible that shows us God, that where we can see God's love and mercy and forgiveness. So I'm going to tell it you right now. So make sure you're listening. Not playing with your face shield, just listening. One day, when Jesus was dining at a Pharisee's house, a woman who had made many wrong choices in her life heard that Jesus was there. Can you stop playing with things inside your desk? I don't even know why that's out. There's no excuses. If you needed to take care of something, you could have done that this afternoon when it was time to pack up, not right now. The woman went to see Jesus, bringing with her a jar of ointment. The woman, in great sorrow for her sins, began to cry. She used her tears to wash Jesus' feet. Then she dried his feet with her hair, kissed them, and put the ointment on them. Jesus told the woman that her sins were forgiven and to go in peace. Jesus loved the woman with a merciful love and forgave her sins. Jesus shows us by his example that God is loving, merciful, and forgiveness. Okay, so you need some background on this story. Back in Jesus' time, they did not have shoes the way we do now. They either wore like some thin sandals or no shoes at all. They also didn't have cars or easy ways of traveling. So if they had to travel, what do you think people back in Jesus' time did? If they were very poor, could not afford a donkey, what did they do? Kingston. They walked. And they had those very thin shoes. Imagine if you're, like, say you know that you're on vacation, you're going to go hiking. That's the closest thing we can think. You're going to go hiking. You're going to walk along a trail, and you know you're going for a long walk. What kind of shoes are you probably wearing? If you've done this, then you know. Smith.
Tennis shoes.
Tennis shoes. And think about the soles of tennis shoes. Are they like flat? No, they're pretty thick to kind of help your feet so they're not constantly banging on the ground and hurting. Or if you step on a rock, there's so much padding and sole that you probably won't even really notice that you stepped on a rock unless it's really big, but it's not going to hurt your foot. You're just going to feel something under there. Well, back in Jesus' time, they didn't have that. So their feet were always very dirty, and their feet were always hurting. So this woman who has sinned comes in, and Jesus has probably been walking around preaching. Maybe he traveled from somewhere kind of far earlier that day, and his feet are probably pretty gross, and they're probably pretty sore. And this woman who has sinned comes in, and she is so sorry for her sins. She is so sad for the sins that she has committed that she is just crying. Tears are streaming down her face, so much that she is able to actually wash Jesus' feet with those tears. She's able to get all that dirt, maybe even some blood from blisters, off of his feet. And then she uses her hair to dry it. And she has brought this ointment or lotion with her. And she just rubs his feet and puts this ointment so that they feel a little better. They're not so sore. And everybody else is watching like, this woman she's bad. Like, we know what she's done. It's bad. Don't even, look at her. She is she's not even worth us acknowledging her presence. But what does Jesus do? Carla.
Jesus forgave her sins.
He forgave her sins. He showed her care and compassion, and he forgave her sins. She had done some bad stuff. And he forgave her, and he talked to her. He probably gave her a hug, put a hand on her back, comforted her, made her feel better. When everybody else was like, she's bad, get away from her, ignore her. The kind of person that you or I might see on the street and be like, ooh, stay over there, please. But Jesus said, no. I am going to show my merciful love that I have received from my Father. I'm going to show his example by forgiving this woman and comforting her and making her feel better. So do you see how we can see God's merciful love through Jesus' actions? Is that an example we should follow? Is that an example we should follow? Zari?
Yes.
Yes. Now, does that mean we walk up to every dangerous looking person or, dirty looking person on the street and say, it's okay, let me give you a hug? No, because we still have to be safe. We are not a grown man like Jesus was, who is also God. But that means that what can we do? What are things that we can do safely for people like this woman? Zari.
We should like say, or like maybe not so close, but we should go over there and talk to her and say like, I know you've done some things wrong, but you can still talk to me whenever you want, because I know you are very sorry for them.
Okay, maybe. That would be in a safe situation. But what if you're just driving along? What is something that you can do? Carla.
And if you see her and you're driving along, you can say to her that I think that you are sorry that what you did is bad, and give her some money to help her.
Maybe you can donate money to her. What if you don't feel comfortable giving the money to her, but you want her to have it? What can you do? Like you're like, I don't know if I want to give this person money. But what can you do with your money to help people like her? Victoria.
You can probably ask someone that will go up to her and give to them to give.
What else could we do? What could you do? Helen.
You can go buy food for her.
Okay, you could buy food. And you could just hand it through the window and say, here's a bag of some food. It's not a lot because we don't have a lot of money. But here's some food just to get you through. Ethan, what's your idea? You could pray for her. You could say a prayer for her. Zadie? Or him?
You could not donate directly to that person, but you could just donate money.
To where? What kind of place is going to help that person?
To like a homeless shelter.
You could donate to a homeless shelter. You may not feel comfortable giving the money to that person, but you could donate to a homeless shelter that person is probably going to try to go to at some point. Let's see, Colin had a good idea where maybe you could just pass some groceries, like just some food, out to that person. Or you could also, like I know some people, what they do is they create, I can't remember what they call them, but they're bags for homeless people, and they'll put like some travel-sized toiletry items like deodorant, tissues, maybe some soap, some socks, things like that, and they'll just keep some in their car, and so anytime they see a homeless person, they'll pass it to them. Ethan had a really good one. Because sometimes it's not safe to even open, you may not feel safe even opening your window, and that's okay, especially as a kid. But you can say a prayer. Zadie's was really good too, because you can donate to a charity that helps people like this woman or like the people that we see at the corners begging for money. You can donate to a charity that helps those kind of people. Those are all things that we can do. Carla, do you have another idea?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And that is to go somewhere and buy something for them that
Okay.
might help.
So that's kind of what we were talking about. Donating money, time, items to especially charities that help people like that. Then you can be sure that they're getting these things and that their families are getting these things. Good. You guys have some good ideas. Because we can't do what Jesus did. First of all, can we actually forgive other people's sins? We can't. We can forgive them for things that they've done to us, but we can't forgive their sins. It's also not necessarily safe for us to go and comfort somebody who is having a hard time. Like if it's a family member or friend, yes, comfort them. But if it is like, you know, we see that all the time here. You're driving along and you see somebody begging for money at a corner. It's not safe, especially for you guys, to go and give them money. But you can do all these other things that is safe. Donating to a charity. Having your parents just pass them a bag of just some like easy snacks or toiletry items or maybe some old clothes. So those are things we can do. We can't do everything Jesus did, but those are things we can do. We can always, always say a prayer. Always. Even if we are in the biggest rush to go somewhere. Can you drive and say a prayer at the same time? Yeah, you can. Can you pause from reading your book that you're reading in the car and say a quick prayer? Can you turn the volume down on the radio for just a minute and say a quick prayer? Can you say a quick prayer even if the radio is going? Yeah. If your family is talking and having a conversation and you're the only one that noticed, are you able to stop and say a quick prayer? There's nothing that stops us from doing that. So those are all things that we can do to help. So that is one example of Jesus showing love, of being a loving example. What is the biggest example of how Jesus showed his love? What is the biggest example of Jesus' loving, what is the biggest, I can't remember the wording I was going for. Aaron. Dying on the cross. Who did he die for? Mason. Who? That's what he died for. He died for our sins, but who did he die for? Us. He died for us so that we could do what? Smith?
So that we could go to heaven.
So that we could go to heaven. Now that's a big sacrifice. I mean, he died. He sacrificed his entire life. Everything that he could have done. Imagine, look at everything he did in 33 years. Imagine what he could have done with 33 more. But he sacrificed it all so that we could go to heaven. And so what we call that is he returned God's love in the most perfect way. What is perfect? What does it mean? What does perfect mean? Zari.
You did it just right.
Just right. No mistakes. No messes. Exactly right. Are we able to return God's love in a perfect way? Can we show God's love to other people in a perfect way? No. Why can we not do that? Victoria.
Because
We're not perfect. Why was Jesus able to do that? Michaela?
Because he's perfect.
Because he is perfect. Should we try to be perfect? Should we ever expect ourselves to be perfect? No. Is it possible for a human being that is not Jesus to be perfect? No. Or Mary. Mary was also perfect. But is it possible for anybody else to be perfect? Unless they are sent by who? Ethan? God. Let's see. Okay, so now go ahead and open to page 68. Here's what Pope John Paul II said on Jesus' perfect love. That perfect love that he showed us and God by dying on the cross. He it was, and he alone, who satisfied the Father's eternal love. Ethan, don't worry about it right now. Just leave it there. Just leave it there. You can get it later. That fatherhood that from the beginning found expression in creating the world, giving man all the riches of creation, and making him little less than God, in that he was created in the image and after the likeness of God. All that is saying is Jesus is perfect. Please sit up. He and he alone also satisfied that fatherhood of God and that love which man in a way rejected by breaking the first covenant and the later covenants that God again and again offered to man. That is another way of saying that Jesus is perfect, but humans are not. The redemption of the world, this tremendous mystery of love in which creation is renewed, is at its deepest root the fullness of justice in a human heart, the heart of the firstborn Son, in order that it may become justice in the hearts of many human beings, predestined from eternity. Michaela, don't forget to mute. Predestined from eternity in the firstborn Son to be children of God and called to grace, called to love. Now that's a fancy way of saying because Jesus did this and because he showed God's love in a perfect way by dying on the cross, we are now able to go to heaven and to follow this example. Not in the same way, because we talked about it earlier. Are we going to die for everybody's sins? Should we die for everyone's sins? Aaron? No. Do we need to die so that others can live? Ethan? No. But there are other ways that we can sacrifice, like donating money, donating our time by serving others, donating our old clothes or toys, saying prayers for people, teaching about God, telling other people about God, helping others to serve. When we donate money, are we actually doing the serving? Like if we donate money to a food bank, does that mean that we are the ones handing out the food? No. But are we able to donate so that somebody else is able to hand out the food? So we can serve, not necessarily by going and handing out food, but by donating things to help other people serve. Okay, we are going to read the story together. So now we are going to read about Jesus' perfect sacrifice. So what are we going to read about? We're reading about Jesus' perfect sacrifice. What was his perfect sacrifice? Mason? Dying on the cross. So if we're reading about Jesus' perfect sacrifice of love, what are we reading about? Zari?
When he died on the cross.
When he died on the cross.
Is it okay if I accidentally cry a little?
That's okay. But we know this story, so we don't have to take it too far, okay? Carla, please read.
Scripture account, Jesus' sacrifice of love.
Remember, if we see Jesus apostrophe, we say Jesus is. That's one of those
Jesus'
things religion books always get wrong. Okay, go ahead.
In the evening, after the Last Supper, Jesus was arrested by the soldiers and others. Soldiers made fun of Jesus. Miss Wallace?
Yes, Carla. Do you want to try again later?
It's not very good.
Okay, that's
I
okay.
have to let my mom know because I can able to text my mom.
Okay, we'll make sure that you're listening while we do that, okay? Okay. Smith, can you finish out that paragraph for her? They whipped.
They whipped him many times, covering his back with bleeding wounds. The soldiers made a crown out of thorns and put it on Jesus' head. Then Pontius Pilate gave the order to have Jesus crucified.
Okay. Zari, read next.
Jesus was given a cross. He had carried this cross to the place called
Try it out. It's almost exactly how it's spelled.
Golgotha,
Golgotha.
which is just outside the city of Jerusalem. This walk must have been hard for Jesus. The soldiers made a man, Simon,
That's a soft C. Try the rest out.
Cyprian,
Cyrenian.
helped Jesus carry the cross to Golgotha.
Ethan, read next.
When they arrived at
Louder.
When they arrived at Golgotha,
Golgotha.
the soldier nailed Jesus on the cross. Pilate had a sign made that said, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." This sign was put on the cross above Jesus' head.
Now, do you think Pontius Pilate actually thought Jesus was the King of the Jews? Why do you think he had that sign made then? Zadie?
To make fun of him.
To make fun of him. To say, this is what you think? Well, now look at you. Michaela, read next. We're at 2 thieves.
Wait, what did you say?
We're at 2 thieves.
2 thieves were also crucified with Jesus. On his right,
No.
and
1. Don't skip words. Make sure you don't skip words. 1 on his right.
one on his right and the other on his left. One of the thieves cried out to Jesus, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." This thief was not sorry for the crime he had committed.
Okay. So he's saying, save us. He wasn't sorry. He was just like, you say you're the King of the Jews, then save us. Save yourself and us. I will read next. The other thief knew that what he had done was wrong. This good thief was sorry for what he had done. The good thief scolded the other thief. He reminded him that they were receiving the just punishment for their crimes, but that Jesus had done nothing wrong. So do you see the difference? The first thief is not sorry, and he's like, I don't have to die for this. Whatever, I'm not sorry. It wasn't that big of a deal. But the other thief realizes, no, what we did was really bad. And this is the punishment for people who do what we did. But Jesus doesn't deserve this punishment because he didn't do what we did. He didn't do anything at all. He didn't even do something a little bit wrong that the punishment is too strong for. He did nothing wrong. So he's saying to this other thief, yes, we should be here. But this man, Jesus, should not. Zadie, read next. Okay. Aaron, read next.
There was a crowd of people
Oh,
gathered.
not yet. We aren't there yet.
Then the good thief looked at Jesus and said, Jesus, remember me when you come to the kingdom power. Jesus then promised a good thief that he would be with him in heaven.
So, what did the good thief just do? What did the good thief just do there? Carla?
Scold the other thief.
Well, that already happened, but what did he just do? That last little bit that Aaron read. You may not have been able to hear her, but it was just that bit, that next little bit. Victoria? Do you see what I'm talking about, Carla?
No, I still don't see what it is.
So Aaron read the part after. So I finished, but Jesus had done nothing wrong. And then Aaron read just the next little part. Then the good thief looked. So girls at home, if you didn't hear her, make sure you read that little part right now. Victoria, what did that good thief just do?
The good thief just basically he standed up. He kind of standed up.
Stood.
Stood up for Jesus.
Okay, but after that, like just the part Aaron read. So he already said to the other thief, like, no, we did the wrong thing. We're supposed to be here. What did he do after that? And what Aaron just read? Kingston? He asked for forgiveness. Kingston, how do you know he asked for forgiveness? It doesn't say, forgive me. Bless you. What did he say? That means he was asking for forgiveness. I can't hear you. Louder, louder, louder. You're right, so be proud and confident in your answer. Come on. I've heard you yell all the way across the playground. Sit up straight and tell us, what did he say? That means the same thing. That's how he asked for forgiveness.
Well, he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into the kingdom power.
So he asked Jesus to remember him when he goes to heaven. Because he's saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I sinned. I know now that I was wrong and I should be here, but you shouldn't. And I know that you are King of the Jews. Please forgive me. And then what did Jesus do? Zari.
He forgave him
He forgave him. How do we know?
because it says, Jesus then promised the good thief that he would be with him in heaven.
So he told him, you are going to be with me in heaven, which means your sins are forgiven. Because do you think this thief that committed something so wrong that now he is being punished with death did something that deserves to be in heaven? So what had to have happened? If he committed a sin so strong that now he is being punished with death, what had to have happened for him to be able to go to heaven? Carla.
The other thief would have to say that he remembered that he is the mighty, that Jesus is the mighty King, but he didn't because he wasn't very sorry.
Okay. So, but what the thief that was sorry, he committed something really, really bad. Really, really bad. I mean, he said, I deserve to be here being punished with death. Normally, we know things like that, mortal sins, we're not able to go to heaven anymore. Unless what? Cullen.
You apologize to Jesus.
Okay. Then what? Victoria? You're forgiven. What do you have to be in order to be forgiven? Michaela?
Sorry.
Can you just say, oh, I'm sorry? Whatever. So not just sorry, but Michaela? Oh, you're still muted.
I'm sorry.
You have to be truly sorry. You have to mean it. You can't just say the words. You have to mean it. Okay, read next. Kingston, loud and slow.
When a crowd of people gathered,
Louder. You're right next to the thing, so they should be able to hear you really, really well because you're right next to it. But if your voice is real quiet, they won't. It was. Like you're yelling. Come on, like you're yelling. You know what the difference between a yell and a regular voice, so yell.
there was a crowd of people gathered at the place of the crucifixion.
Stay loud.
Some of the people were friends of Jesus who believed in him. Other people were not friends of Jesus. They made fun of him, saying, "He saved others. Let him save himself. If he is Christ of God, if he is the Christ of God, they've chosen one."
Stay loud.
Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do."
So, what's happening now? Zari.
Now, there's people gathering around, and some of them are friends of Jesus and like praising him and like, please don't go. And the other ones are just like laughing at him, like, you should save us. You should save yourself if you're really Christ.
Okay, then what? Then what happened? Smith?
Jesus prays to God to forgive all those people saying what they shouldn't be saying.
Very good. Michaela, don't forget to mute yourself. So, were they sorry for what they were doing, for making fun of Jesus? Were these people sorry? Aaron?
No.
No. So, was Jesus actually forgiving them right here? Did he say, you are forgiven?
No.
But what was he asking?
He was asking God
He was asking God to
to forgive them.
forgive them. How do you think God will be able to forgive them? What will have to happen? Victoria?
What will have to happen is that they need to stop making fun of.
Okay. Then what? After they stop making fun of Jesus, then what? Can they automatically be forgiven?
No, then be truly sorry.
Then they have to be truly sorry. Do you think that's going to happen? How can God make that happen? How can God make you feel sorry? Can he make you feel sorry? But can he put it in your heart so that you can start to feel sorry? Yeah. He can put that in your heart. He can't make you feel sorry, but he can put that in your heart and in your mind so that maybe you will realize what you did was wrong, and then you will feel sorry, which is what Jesus is praying for God to do. Please put your pencils down. You don't need them right now. Okay. Read next. Victoria. Loud.
Some of us have to flip the page.
Where are we? You should be able to figure out that we have already read everything on that page, so what do we have to do? Mm-hmm. Go, please. Loudly.
Mary, Jesus' mother.
Not, what do we say when we see Jesus apostrophe? Do we say Jesus?
Jesus is.
There you go. Start again.
Mary, Jesus' mother, and some friends of Jesus told near
Not
the
told.
cross. Near the cross.
Not told.
Stood near the cross. John, one of the apostles, was also there. Jesus saw them standing.
Colin, read next.
Jesus said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then Jesus spoke to John, "Behold your mother." From then on, John cared for Mary.
So, was Jesus in that moment actually making John Mary's son and making Mary John's mother? Was he actually making that happen, like, scientifically? No. So what was he trying to say? He wasn't saying, Mom, this is literally your new son, John. John, this is literally your mom now. What was he saying? Smith.
He was saying that since Mary's son Jesus is going away, that Mary and John can care for each other instead of Mary and Jesus caring for each other.
Good. So Jesus knew he was about to die. He wasn't going to be around much longer. But he knew his mom still needed somebody. So he said, John, love this woman as if she is your mother. Mother, love this man as if he is your son. Because I won't be here anymore. Okay, read next. Mason. Loud and slow.
Around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, darkness came over the land. At about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me?"
So around noon, it got really dark all of a sudden. Does it get dark at noon? No. Why do you think it got dark? Is that symbolism for something? Aaron? Did he die at 12? It's symbolism for something. What do you think it symbolizes? What do you think that darkness in the middle of the day symbolizes? He didn't die at 12. When did he die? What time did he die? Helen?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. So why did it get dark at 12? What does that symbolize? Michaela?
That he's dying very soon.
That he's dying soon. It symbolizes, think about darkness, like especially in scary movies and stuff. If it's real dark all of a sudden in a scary movie, what's probably about to happen? It's also a little bit of foreshadowing. It's a little bit of both. Mason? Maybe something bad's about to happen. Darkness can symbolize evil a lot of times, bad things. It can also foreshadow that something bad is about to happen. We know if we're watching or reading something that's a little bit scary and all of a sudden it gets dark, what do we expect is going to happen soon? Zadie?
Not something good.
Not something good. We don't think, oh, it's getting dark, cool, they're about to have a party. No, we're like, oh gosh, now it's going to be harder to see what's out there. Okay, read next. Aaron, loud and slow.
One of the onlookers soaked a sponge in some wine and putting it on a sack,
Not a sack.
a stick.
Did Jesus have to sacrifice himself? Did he have to die on the cross? No. Why did he? Ethan. For the people, especially who? I mean, which people? Specific people? Was it just certain people that he died for? What people? You're on the right track. But which people? Carla, which people did he die for?
He died for the people who have sinned.
Which is who? Who are the people who have sinned?
Cain is one of them.
Okay.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. Colin?
Us.
Us. Just us in this classroom?
No, everybody.
Everyone. Every single person on earth who was, is, and will be. Not just the people who had already died when Jesus died on the cross. Not just the people who were alive when Jesus died on the cross. Not just us, but everyone, every living person who ever lived. Not every living person who ever lived. Every person who ever lived, lives, or will live is who Jesus died for. Who was the only person who had never sinned, who he did not have to die for, but who he still died for? Ethan. Mary, his mother. Good. What did he show? What did Jesus show by dying on the cross? Zari.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. What else? What was the biggest thing he showed? Zadie.
Merciful love.
Merciful love. Whose merciful love? His own?
No.
Whose?
God.
God's. God's merciful love. He said, I know that these people have sinned. I know the people that have already died and are now in hell have sinned. I know the people alive right now have sinned. I know every single person coming in this world will sin. But I will show mercy for them by dying on the cross right now so that if they are sorry for those sins, they will go to heaven. That's mercy. He could have said, it's your fault. You deal with it. You committed the crime, now you do the time. But he said, no, I will have mercy. I will forgive. I will allow them to be with me and my Father in heaven. Okay. We will... I think it'll be better if we wait for that till tomorrow. Okay, we'll read that tomorrow. I mean, Tuesday.
Why not Monday?
Because we don't have religion on Monday. Yes, we'll do the rest on Tuesday. Okay, go ahead and close your religion books. I want you to think about that this weekend.